Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. It's, what is it, August 12th? Hey, check the camera. I heard it beep. It's good? Alright. Technical difficulties. Shabbat Shalom. August 12th, 2017. It's been a while since I've done a video, and a real quick reason for that being, I just took some time off to really study and kind of get more focused in the Word and really learn a lot in the Scripture, and really just mainly to make sure I fully understand what it is I'm teaching. I think whenever I first started putting out these videos, I put out about 5. Each of them I put out within probably 2 weeks of another, and while that's great, the zealousness is there, of course, my passion is there, but I just wanted to make sure that what I'm teaching is fairly accurate according to the interpretation of the Scriptures. And so this one I have titled as Following Yahweh Completely, and really I just came to a bunch of these over reading the Torah portions in this past year and over the last couple of months from taking a break and just kind of digging into resources and learning the Hebraic concepts of the Tanakh or Old Testament. And whenever we were in the book of Numbers or Bimidar, Numbers 14:24 is what really stuck out to me and kind of put me on this path. And then I came to one of Jeff Benner's teachings that ran right along with this, and so I used some of his teachings on following Yahweh and kind of put this together. And Caleb is the one who kind of, out of Numbers 14:24, made me start digging into this a little bit more. And much of it we already know how to follow Yahweh completely or not, but the more I kind of dug into this, it was just interesting. And Numbers 14:24 reads as, "My servant Caleb," this is Yahweh speaking, "because he has a different spirit in him and has followed me completely, I shall bring into the land where he went, and his seed shall inherit it." And so he has a different spirit within him, and I thought that was kind of key as to know why or what it was that he had in him that differed from the other children of Israel when they were going about in the wilderness. We never do read about Caleb or Yahshua, son of Nun, complaining or grumbling against Moshe, Aaron, or Yahweh even. We always hear them just saying yes and going and performing the duty they were commanded by Yahweh, Moshe, and Aaron. And oftentimes we know that throughout the wilderness the children of Israel complained, grumbled against Yahweh, and they provoked him, and it really made his wrath and anger burn against the children of Israel. Down a couple of verses, verse 30, "None of you except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Yahushua, son of Nun, shall enter the land which I swore I would make you dwell in." You can go down a little bit further. According, let's see. I don't know where that verse went. But basically it just said whatever I was talking about. I don't know. Here it is. "How long shall," it's verse 27, "How long shall this evil congregation have this grumbling against me? I have heard the grumblings of the children of Israel are grumbling against me." So he punished them because, they tested and provoked Yahweh and made them walk all throughout the wilderness, and he was going to make them fall in the wilderness as well. And then only Caleb and Yahushua and their seed were the ones that were allowed to enter in. And he said, "But your little ones, whom you said would become a prey, I shall bring in, and they shall know the land which you have rejected." So I started kind of looking into what it was that Caleb had in him. Obviously, it was a set-apart spirit, the Ruach, that he had in him. The children of Israel obviously had a different spirit within them, and whatever it may have been, it had them walk contrary to the ways of Yahweh. So going to Genesis 18:19 from here, this is kind of where I want to get into a few words just to point out. This is Yahweh speaking again. I'll start at verse 17, Genesis chapter 18, verse 17. And Yahweh said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? Since Abraham is certainly going to become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him." Verse 19, For I have known him, so that he commands his children and his household after him to guard the way of Yahweh, to do righteousness and right ruling, so that Yahweh brings Abraham what he has spoken to him. Now the King James, verse 19 here reads, "For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of Yahweh to do justice and judgment, that Yahweh may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him." So we know that we are to use Yahweh's Torah as a map to guide us throughout this journey. That's exactly what Torah is in the Hebraic concept, or its concrete meaning. It's a journey. It's not so much as a doctrine as defined now today in amongst the brethren in church unity and Judaism. See, there's a conflict that Torah is for the Jews only, and grace and whatever is for church unity. But when we truly get back to the Word and build our foundation through the Old Testament, as what they call it, or the Tanakh, we finally see and understand that when we begin to read the New Testament or the Renewed Covenant, that everything throughout is just the Old Testament being confirmed. It's still the same teachings that Yahshua had brought to the people to get them back in a covenant with Yahweh. They had to turn back and make a decision based on the directions and instructions that Yahweh, the tour guide, had laid out for his people. And so his Torah will identify the correct trails that we're to be on. Like I said, Yahweh is our tour guide who will lead us to the proper landmarks while being on this journey in Torah. So without our guide, without Yahweh being our guide, it's very easy that we can become lost, even led astray, more so get off this trail that he has us on. And what I like here about Abraham, Yahweh knows Abraham. He has an intimate relationship with him, that he will command his children and his household after him to keep and walk in the way of Yahweh, to do righteousness and judgment. And so I wanted to talk about a couple of words here. First off, for I know him, so we have the word know. It's Strong's Hebrew number 3045, and it's Yada. And this here is the ancient pictograph form, which would give us a more of a concrete definition of exactly what these people were writing or pinning down when they drew these characters. And I want to take you back to Genesis 4. You're probably very familiar with this or heard many others go back here, as we see that this word is the same exact word when Adam knew his wife Havah and she conceived. So we know that this word know is a word meaning of intimacy. And that's exactly what it means, has an intimate relationship with one another. It comes from the parent root of the Dalet Ayin, Da, these two. And if you have Jeff Benner's Ancient Hebrew Lexicon of the Bible, very awesome resource. It's on page 96. Number 1085. And our action that we get from this is to see, and abstractly is where we get our knowledge. When you combine these two pictographs here, it means the door of the eye. The eye is the window into the man's very being, and experience is gained through the visual observation. Knowledge is achieved through these experiences. When we go down to subsection LV, we have to have an intimate relationship with another person, an idea or an experience, to know. Yada, the Yod, the Dalet, and the Ayin. The Yod is an outstretched arm, or palm and hand and arm, and it means to work, throw, worship. The Dalet is a picture of a door, which moves, hangs, you can enter through a door, and the Ayin is the picture of an eye. Obviously, the modern Hebrew, you have a Yod, Dalet, Ayin, Yada. So we would have Yahweh is knowing Abraham in the sense that Yahweh has seen the works of Abraham, and he enters through that relationship, or that door, if you will, to be known by Yahweh. The work and the worship of Abraham is allowing him to enter that relationship with Yahweh, to be known by him. Our next word that we come to in this verse, for I know Abraham, that he will command. Command here is the Strong's Hebrew number 6680, and this one is on page 232. And it is number 1397 HV. It means command. And it's the Zadi, the Wah, and the Hey. The parent root for this is Saw. Well, that's the word Saw. But it's Sawa is the word. It's the Zadi, which is a picture of a trail. So we see that we're to be on this trail that's going to lead us to something and connect us to something. The Wah is a picture of a tent peg that means to add, secure, connect us to something. We have the Hey, which is a picture of a little man with his arms raised. That signifies revelation, breath, life. And again, the Zadi right there, we're being led to something that's going to add or connect us to that revelation, that life. And that's what his commands are for. Leading us on a trail, or placing us on the correct path that'll connect us to that very life, that tree of life, if you will. We'll have access to it. Going to Deuteronomy 6:25. What does that mean?
It's flashing.
Is it recording still? You have to stay there and watch, because it'll cut off. Going to Deuteronomy 6:25, we get righteousness. And this is righteousness for us if we are careful to do all the commands that Yahweh, our Elohim, has commanded us to do. So righteousness is Strong's Hebrew number 6666. It's Zedekah. We have the Zadi, the Dalet, the Kuf, and the Hey. So again, we're on this trail that's going to lead us somewhere, once again through that door, that'll bring us to a new time, or a new dawning day, to that tree of life, that revelation of life, breath. So this trail that we're on, with the concreteness of this word Zedekah in that scripture, Deuteronomy 6:25 reads, and the correct trail will be for us if we are careful to follow all the directions, the commands, all the directions in front of Yahweh our Elohim, just as he directed us. So he's directing us to be on this correct path that will connect us to that tree of life. And again, the Zadikah of that is that correct trail that allows us to hang on that door to the time and the new beginning of that tree of life, the revelation of that breath he breathes upon us when we're walking on that trail. Once we have understood the directions he's provided for us, for our own path, it's up to us and our responsibility to maintain and establish that trail when we're on it. And so that'll finish up this brief little study on following Yahweh completely, and I'll get back with you on a part 2 soon. Thank you, and shalom.